All right, welcome to episode 45 of Life is Horror, and this episode will contain 5 horror movie reviews and my top 10 favorite needle drop moments in horror. Basically, meaning whenever a song plays in the movie, whenever the characters are listening to a song, playing it on the radio or a boombox, like in Return of the Living Dead, my background right now, that has a needle drop moment when Trash gets naked, starts dancing to the song Tonight. Will that make my list? Find out. Stick around till the end. So, yeah, top 10 favorite needle drop moments in horror. The inspiration for this weird ranking came from one of the movies I'm discussing tonight, Tarot, or Tarot, as the one character pronounced it. It's pronounced tarot. The T is silent. But yeah, there's a moment in tarot where a needle drop. There's a record player and it plays a song, and that got me thinking: what are some of the best, effective, or just coolest moments in horror movies where songs are played in the movie? And so yeah, that's going to be my ranking. And the 5 movies I will be discussing is Tarot, Baghead, and Stop Motion, and also The Watchers, and was is that all? Oh, Lovely, Dark, and Deep. Yeah, I think that's all of them. I think I said 5. So yeah, those are the 5 I'm talking about. A lot of European horror. 2 of them are on Shudder, and 2 of them were at the theater, or at least one of them's still at the theater. 2 of them went to theaters. And so yeah, I'm going to talk about those 5 movies. But let's talk about some horror news first. Things that have been announced. The Breed is getting a remake. The Breed from 2006, the movie produced by Wes Craven. It's like a killer dog movie. Never saw it. Has Michelle Rodriguez from the Fast and Furious movies. So, can't say I'm excited about this remake. I've never even seen the first one. So, moving on. That's getting remade pretty damn soon. I'm guessing that's coming out next year. So, The Black Phone 2, another update was announced in the last month or so that it's got a new release date. I think they pushed it, so it's coming out in October now. I think it was supposed to come out in the summertime next year, but now it's coming out in October of 2025. And also, oh, and I think it was announced that in the Breed remake, the 2 actresses from Fall, that movie from a couple years back, they're going to star alongside each other once again in the Breed remake. Now, speaking of Fall 2, I already talked about that. That got announced last year, but now we know who's going to direct it. So, Fall 2 is going to be directed by the Spirit Brothers, who directed Jigsaw and a couple other movies. I think they did that Winchester movie, which wasn't that good. Some would say that Jigsaw wasn't that good, but I'm a fan of Jigsaw. I like that movie. I like it. So, yeah, Spirit Brothers, they're directing that, and Hostel is turning into a TV series, like everything is getting turned into a TV series in the last like 15 years. That seems to be the new trend. Since like 2010, horror movies, any big property gets their own TV series now. Psycho got a TV series, Chucky got a TV series, Hannibal, Silence of the Lambs, and Hannibal Lecter, like that became a TV series. Like they all seem to just get TV series now instead of just sequels or remakes. And now Hostel, instead of getting a sequel or a remake, is becoming a TV series with Paul Giamatti, the famous actor. He is going to be in it in some capacity. I don't know if he's going to be like one of the bad guys, if he's going to be running that like bulldog. I forget the name of the organization, this shady underground organization. They have like the bulldog tattoos on their wrist. I don't know if he's gonna be like the bad guy, but all we know he's gonna be in it. So, and that's all I got to announce for this video. Let's just jump into the reviews, shall we? All right, let's get going. I got 5 to discuss, and we're gonna start, I guess, with Baghead here. It's listed as a 2023 movie. I guess it premiered at a festival last year, but it got widely released on Shudder this year, back in like April. And I wrote it's an Irish movie, but I think it's Irish characters that go to Germany. So it's basically about this woman who, left her dad a long time ago, like very estranged, like she hates him, disowned her father because of something, and then she gets a letter in the mail saying that he's dead, and now she's inherited this like pub, And so and it's located in Berlin. So she travels to see this place. Plus, she's down in the dumps. She's got like no money. So it comes at the perfect time because she's like about to lose her apartment because she can't pay rent. So she gets this pub, and it's also like an apartment. It's got like a place upstairs that she can sleep at, but it's also got something downstairs in the basement, something sinister and supernatural. So yeah, she gets this place, goes there. Slightly intriguing premise, and with there's this creature in the basement, and you learn pretty quickly that this creature with the bag on its head that you see there in the poster, when it takes the bag off its head, it can look like it's a shapeshifter, so it can look like someone, whoever you want. You just give it something of the person you want to see, like a dead loved one. Her mom is dead, so she just wants to see her mom one last time. But of course, doing this comes with a price. That's every horror movie ever. Good things always come with bad things. There's always a price to be paid, and so that's what's happening in this movie. And you see where it's going pretty early on. It's kind of formulaic in that way. Once it gets going, once you realize what this thing is, what it does, you're like, all right, I see where this is going. She's gonna do this. She's gonna break these rules. Like, and so there's a bunch of CGI fire that looked terrible towards the end. The protagonist makes multiple head shaking, dumb decisions, disobeys basically every single rule that is given to her. She's given quite a few, and she breaks them very quickly. Like, I don't give a shit. The pacing was good, the acting was fine, and the lead actress was just in that last Planet of the Apes movie that just came out a couple months ago. That's a good movie. Check that one out. And so I like the look of the Baghead witch. There's no jump scares in this at all, which I like. I like that. Could have been creepier though, and not a whole lot happens in the movie. Now, I wrote here that it's PG-13, but then I just checked and it said it's rated R. So I don't know why I wrote that. Obviously, it was listed somewhere as PG-13, but now I checked again and it says R. So which one is it? It felt PG-13. There's no gore, there's no nudity. So it's not a lot of blood in this at all. So it felt very PG-13, like a couple of these other movies that are PG-13. I'll be talking about later. And you know me, I'm not a big fan of PG-13 horror, but overall, this movie was fine. It was just so blah. That's like the theme of 2024 for me so far. I am not impressed with this year. I've only seen 20 movies from this year so far, and I only think like 3 movies are great from this year, just 3. And I'm jealous of all these people I keep seeing on Twitter overpraising the shit out of every movie. They love everything. I wish I could be that person that just loves everything I watch. But then wouldn't that kind of get boring too after a while if you loved everything? But I seem to just be hating or just being very meh on everything this year. And it's been that way for a couple of years now, but usually towards the end things pick up. So hopefully in October, when like Terrifier 3 comes out and some other movies, things will pick up. But right now, I gotta say, I'm not a fan of 2024. So if there's some great movies I'm missing, let me know in the comments below. Because right now, I am disappointed. Alright, so Stopmotion. This is on Shudder, and this was, I think this is like an extended, like feature length, version of that short. There was like a ABC's a Death short that this guy did. That was the stop motion one, and now this is the movie version of that. Plot synopsis says Ella Blake, a stop motion animator struggling to control her demons after the loss of her overbearing mother, embarks upon the creation of a film that becomes the battleground for her sanity. As Ella's mind starts to fracture, the characters in her project take on a life of their own. Directed by Robert Morgan. And so this one again, it says 2023, probably a festival last year, but got a wide release earlier in spring, like March. So yeah, it's on Shudder. Still there, last I checked. So yeah, this is like a stop motion spin on like a basic like psychological horror movie. This is very psychological, and you know that early on, like where this is going. This is going to be one of those descent into madness types of movies. And there's this little girl that she meets as soon as she gets to the apartment building, and it's not spoiling shit to say that girl is a ghost. is so obvious, and I'm not sure if that was supposed to be a twist in the movie, but it seems pretty damn obvious that she's talking to this ghost girl. And the lead actress is great in this, and the stop motion segments are the creepiest parts. Just aesthetically, they look off and just weird. Like it's just a very creepy aesthetic, and like what she makes these clay characters out of. It's not like robot chicken. It's like something far more disturbing looking. Whatever she's using, whatever clay or whatever it is that she's using, and I won't spoil what she uses for these things at the end, but um, a wax. I guess they're made of wax. Um, and this movie kind of has some Maniac remake vibes. Some moments that felt inspired by that movie because like there's moments where she's losing her mind, like it said in the plot. Her mind starts to fracture, so she's hallucinating. She's talking to this ghost girl. Like I said, very obvious. It's not a spoiler. Trust me, you'll know. Um, she's talking to this ghost girl. Then she starts to see herself like one of her characters in the movie. She starts seeing herself as like a human-sized wax doll, and like starts like kind of peeling the wax off of her in one moment, but then snaps out of it. And it kind of took me back to the Maniac remake where Elijah Wood sees himself as a mannequin. So that just kind of that's what that reminded me of. So, and the score of this movie consists of a lot of like screeching sounds, like high pitched screeching noises. Like it's no like instruments. It's just, or I don't know, like just a very badly not tuned violin. I don't know what it was, but it kind of gives it a very unnerving sound. And so I kind of dug that, not conventional score, something different. I just don't buy her overpowering her boyfriend in one moment. There's a struggle with the boyfriend. And the boyfriend stays with her for so long. Like there's so many like scenes where she does something crazy, says something crazy, and I'm just wondering like why the guy's sticking around with her. I guess he just thinks she's so sexy, he just can't lose that. Um, I don't know. Maybe it's just me. There's so many movies where I feel that way, where I'm like, man, why? I would be gone. I'm just impatient. I'm not, or I guess I get scared away too easily. Like if I saw my girlfriend saying or doing even a quarter of the shit that she was doing in this movie, I would just be like, it's over. But in these movies, they always stick around for far too long, and sometimes it gets them killed by the end. I would be smart. I would not get killed because I would leave as soon as weird shit started happening. Um, but yeah, like there's a struggle, and she like quickly overpowers him. And I'm just like, whatever. Like she's so small, and he's like way taller than her, and I'm just like, whatever. I guess when you're crazy, you just get all this extra strength, like Pamela Voorhees in Friday the 13th, being able to rig up bodies in the trees and throw them through windows and shit. Whatever. It's just a horror movie trope, I guess. Um, there's not much. Oh wait, hold on. What else? I think more time should have passed after one incident before she started. Oh yeah, I feel like her descent into madness was quickly. Like her mom gets in the coma early on, and then it's like she quickly gets to this apartment building, and as soon as she enters that place, she starts seeing the ghost girl. Like how is she? I guess like the way the mom treated her, it said that she was overbearing. Like she wasn't. We don't see like her childhood. We don't really get to know this character enough for me to buy that she would be snapping this much. I don't know. I just don't buy it. I don't buy her descent into madness as quickly as it happens in this movie. I just wish there was a little bit more development there. Maybe more shit from her childhood we got to see. Maybe make the mom even extra overbearing, extra crazy. It just didn't seem like much to me. So it's like, how is she snapping? Why is she so crazy? But other than that, I thought it was all right. This movie is like a 3 out of 5. It's okay, which is how I feel about a lot of these movies lately. This is just another okay one. It's a one and done. I'll never watch it again. So not high praise, but is it worth your time? Maybe. Check it out. If you like the look of the stop motion stuff, if that stuff looks creepy, I think those are the best scenes is when you see her movie within the movie. That's some of the creepiest stuff. But watching her descent into madness. I just couldn't buy it, but the performance was good, so it's an okay movie. Check it out if you want, but if you end up hating it, it's not my fault. All right, I warned you. I said it wasn't that great. It's okay. So number 3, here's a movie that's on Tubi now. It was for money. I'm glad I waited. I almost pulled the trigger and rented this motherfucker. But sometimes you just gotta wait a couple more weeks, and then boom, it's on Tubi, and you can watch it for free. So Lovely, Dark, and Deep. This stars, what's her name? It's Georgina Campbell. I think that's her name, and it's the one girl from Barbarian. I believe that was her in Barbarian, and she's in The Watchers, which I'll be talking about later. So, uh, again, 2023 wide release this year. Lennon, that's her name, a backcountry ranger, travels alone through the dangerous wilderness, hoping to uncover the origins of a tragedy that has haunted her since she was a child. All right, so wide release back in February. This to me, I thought was just very dull, just a generic supernatural haunted forest movie that gives very little exposition on why and how this forest takes people. It opens with a ranger dude who exits his tent, puts a sign up that says, "I owe the forest a body," and walks away. So instantly I was like, all right, that's somewhat intriguing. I owe the forest a body. Let's see where this goes. And then almost nothing happens throughout the rest of the movie. Like, not a lot happens. And it's just a forest that makes you hallucinate, which I'll be talking about that again later in The Watchers. That's been happening a lot lately. There's a lot of horror movies like that where there's supernatural forces that make you hallucinate. And this is another one. But the hallucinations weren't even all that good. I mean, they were probably the best parts of the movie, but just not a lot to this movie. I was just very bummed out. There's that one image that keeps going around from this movie with like that bloody face, like all the blood, like zero gravity, like the blood's like floating up, like they're in space or something. That's like a 1 second scene in the movie. So don't think that's the whole film and there's gonna be a ton of that shit, all that weird imagery and gore or whatever. That's 1 second of the movie. So don't be fooled. Um, the fact that the Rangers are in the know and turn a blind eye to the evil entity's actions was no surprise to me. So slight spoiler, but not not much of a spoiler. Like, it's so obvious because, like I said, that beginning scene, the guy puts up a sign saying, "I owe the forest a body." And then when you meet some of the other Ranger characters and what they say, it's like, okay, it's obvious that everyone here knows that this forest is fucked up and they know what areas to stay away from, except for our lead. The hallucination scenes are the only visually interesting, horrific things happening, but aren't even all that great. Like I said, yeah, there's a woman crawling down a tree, and that's about as creepy as it got. Yeah, just there's not much to say about this movie. Like, I barely wrote anything down. Besides questions at the end. I got some questions. I won't get into it here. This movie felt like a short that was turned into a feature length film. Like, it should have just been like a 20-minute short or something. I bet it was. If I did some research, I bet this was a short because that's exactly what it felt like. There's not a lot here. It just felt like they padded it with just like second unit shots of the forest and little rivers, and like it all looks beautiful. It's very nice. It's a nice place to go hiking. Makes me want to pack my hiking boots and go here. It looks beautiful, but when I'm watching a horror movie, I want to see something scary or something interesting throughout. But this movie was only interesting for about 5 minutes, and then I kind of got what was going on and just lost interest because nothing was happening. Just a little moment here and there, bleeding face, girl on the tree. I'm not asking for a bunch of jump scares because I hate jump scares. I just want something on screen happening that's visually scary or creepy or just engaging, and like I just couldn't give a shit. Like, this girl is in the forest. She became a ranger to look for her sister that went missing like 20 years ago. It's like, dude, she's dead by now. Like, you really think you're gonna find her? It's just and the look of it, the look of the movie, like cinematography, like this movie looks very cheap. Like the lighting and it's just very basic looking. It's just very plain. There's just nothing. I don't know. I don't want to talk about this movie more. I'm done with it. 2 out of 5. Did not like it. All right, The Watchers, another like creepy force that makes you hallucinate movie. This one's from M. Night Shyamalan's daughter, and I believe this was her directorial debut. This is like a fantasy creature feature movie. And again, it's not spoiling anything. When you watch the trailer, they're like, there's something out there. They're watchers. They're watching us. And you can guess right away, like, okay, it's like alien creatures, right? Yep, that's what it is. It's not one of those movies. And that's what I think would have made this movie better for me. It would have made it more intriguing, would have made it more engaging to me if they had taken the like paranoia, 10 Cloverfield Lane approach to this. But they didn't. They didn't make it a mystery. Like, are there things out there, or is this chick who's kept them in there and told them that don't go out? There's something out there, like the big, I forget his name, the big Goodman, like Goodman's character in 10 Cloverfield Lane, like don't go out there. There's things, but like they could have made it to where you're like, well, maybe she's full of shit, maybe she's lying, or maybe she believes what she's saying, but she's not telling the truth. She's just crazy. But no, like they let you know early on. The movie opens up like a lot of horror movies with a kill scene. We see some, creature, not, see it, but we hear it and like catch like shadows or glowing eyes in the distance. Something like take a guy and drag him down a hole and kill him. And it's a creature feature from the beginning. So there's no mystery to it. Like what you're watching, what kind of movie this is. It's not a mystery. And I just feel like for me personally, that's what I would have liked. But that's not the story they wanted to tell. So, it's a containment story for about half of it. A good, maybe over half of it is in this room that you see in the trailer with the one glass wall. They call that room the coop. And, the acting serviceable. It's all right, and it's got that one actress who's been popping up a lot lately in horror. She was in another movie I'm going to talk about here soon, Tarot, and she was in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre requel. Is that what you would call it? Um, so yeah, acting was fine. I like that there was like a lot of foreshadowing, like clever foreshadowing, like a lot of like parallels in the movie. Like, oh, that's cute. And the parrot was my favorite character in the movie. The talking parrot that had one line in the movie. It's the best line in the movie. I wonder if it was in the trailer. But it was pretty funny. It got the one and only laugh in the theater, and yeah, so I like that character. And the premise of this movie reminds me of that South Park episode, but on like a smaller scale. Like in this movie, it's about these creatures that are like watching them through the glass, like they're putting on a show for them. Like it's like a fucked up reality TV show. And in that room that they're in, they actually have a small TV where they play actual reality TV shows. So again, it's like a parallel to like what's actually happening with their situation. What they're watching on TV kind of mirrors what they're going through in a way. And the movie opens up on a shot of like animals in glass cages, and then later on, what they're going to be going through. So again, foreshadowing. So I like that kind of stuff. In the woods in this movie, unlike the last movie I was just talking about, the cinematography here and the look of the woods, it's like beautiful but also creepy and spooky looking. The way the trees are, they got like hundreds of like very short, sharp like branches on them, and it just has it's a very creepy woods, but kind of beautiful. It's got like low mist on the ground, and it just looks good. Cinematography is done well. And I like that they kind of kept the creatures in the shadows. They don't show the creatures a whole lot in this, and they look all right. From what we see, they look all right. They're kind of creepy looking, and but I won't spoil what exactly these creatures are. I'll leave that for you to find out what they are, what they do, why they're there. I won't get into that, so I don't want to spoil anything about this movie. But yeah, so let's just. I'm sure, looking back on this movie, I'm sure if you really dig into it, there's a lot of plot holes. Like I do have some questions, but I don't want to get into them because spoiler, even little small things like why wouldn't these characters do this? How did they not find that? Some of these characters have been in this room for months, and then like within a few days of the main character getting there, they discover these things, and I'm like, you guys didn't look for that before? Like, huh? like whatever. So not a perfect movie by any stretch, but it was good. It's fine. It was. I give it a 3 out of 5. Also, it's okay. Again, not overly impressed with a lot of movies this year, unfortunately. So, but let's get to my number one. Another movie I'm not going to be thrilled about or impressed with. This movie is not very good either. So, Tarot, PG-13, Final Destination esque movie. Um, What's this movie about? Let's read the synopsis. When a group of friends recklessly violate the sacred rule of tarot readings, they unknowingly unleash an unspeakable evil trapped within the cursed cards. One by one, they come face to face with fate and end up in a race against death, dying in the ways that that the woman said when reading their cards. And so, there's an order. The order of the card reading is how they die. So that's where the Final Destination comparison comes from. Um, so, and the fact that the first kill is a ladder kill, like Evan Lewis in Final Destination 2. And there's my first complaint, PG-13, with a movie like this where it's about these people dying one by one in fucked up accidents and gruesome accidents. It's like, I want to see it. Like this one girl gets the magician card, and then she gets put on. The magician pops up and puts her in the box with the saw, the swords and stuff. You want to see that happen on screen, but no, you don't see it. I like the look of the cards and the evil entities that manifest from them, like the jester and the magician, but you don't see them a whole lot, unfortunately. And this is easily the darkest looking movie of 2024. I could not see shit in the theater. It was so dark. So fucking dark that sometimes I was questioning what character I was even looking at. Like, who is this? Um, so yeah, like I get that it's a horror movie. It's supposed to be dark and scary, and less light means more scary to some people. I get it, but I need to see some things. I need to see who I'm looking at. I need to see what it is they're picking up in moments and what they're seeing across the what's freaking them out. It's like they're looking at shit that's scaring them, and I'm like, what is it? What are they looking at? Why are they scared? Like, I didn't see it, but so it just bugged me. It was so fucking dark. Maybe it was the theater that day. I don't know. Maybe I'll watch it again years later and it won't be a problem on my TV. Who knows? But this movie was fucking dark. Formulaic writing, very lots of tropes. There's a trope expert character who turns out to be useless. Um, Meaning, no, when I said that, I made it sound like she's an expert on tropes. I'm just saying that her character is a trope. Because they always have to go on the Google, find out some information, and then they find an expert online, and they go to them, and they have all this information, and it's always like ducted and pinned and glued or whatever to the wall. They have like that whole wall of newspaper clippings and shit. Like they got that in this movie, and it's like, oh my god, here we go again. And it's that old woman from The Watchers in Texas Chainsaw. She's the expert character in this, and she turns out to be fucking useless. Joseph Bishara did the score for this movie. Big fan of him, but this score sounded basic. This was not a good Bishara score, if that's how you say his name. Bishara. He did Malignant, the Conjuring movies. He works with James Wan a lot. He usually makes some cool scores, but this one just was jump scare stingers and nothing else. The Fool character, the guy from like the Spider-Man movies as of late, he was the comic relief and he was funny in this. And it's a fast-paced 90-minute movie. I was never really bored. It's just unfortunate that it's PG-13. And first kill was the most brutal one. Just wish I could have seen it. And yeah, I wrote Final Destination dialogue and story. Like there's a scene in the movie where they get together and they're discussing like the pattern and trying to get the others to believe them. It just felt like a scene right out of Final Destination because all the Final Destinations have that one scene where they have to like get all the the people on the list in one room and talk to them and be like, here's what's happening, whether you believe it or not. There's a list, there's a pattern, blah blah blah, and then there's always at least one or two characters that's like, whatever, you're full of shit. So yeah, this was a very bland, basic, generic movie, but because I wasn't so bored with it, and I liked the comic relief character, I went with a 2.5 out of 5 instead of a 2. A lot of people will not like this movie. I can guarantee that. It does have low ratings. I think it's in the 4s on IMDb, but it was just fine. I just wish I could see it. I wish the lighting was better, and I wish it was rated R, and then you would have a movie on your hands. A good movie on your hands, or a decent one. But no, it was just very blah. So there you go. That's the end of that. Let's, I guess, get into my ranking. All right, so let's just move over here. All right, so I'm just going to breeze through this. I'm not going to talk about each song and why I picked it exactly. I'm just going to go right through this and give a few honorable mentions. And let me know any songs that I might have missed that you like in movies. Again, it's songs that actually play in the movie. Like the characters are playing the song on the radio, jukebox, in some way. All right. It's not like only we hear it as the audience and they don't. It's actually playing in the movie. Those are needle drops. So, top 10 needle drops in horror. Number 10 is from the movie Unfriended, the song I Hurt Too by Katie Hertzik. At the very end of the movie, the evil entity uses the main chick's Spotify to play a song to basically speak to her, kind of like the car in Christine uses music to speak to people. This entity used this song to kind of tell her something, it's a very sad song. It's a good song too, and I just thought it was perfect for this moment in the movie. Number 9 is Tonight by SSQ. Tonight will make love till we die, or whatever, however the song goes. The song that plays in Return of the Living Dead when Trash gets naked and starts dancing in the graveyard. Yeah, very sexy, very awesome scene. And number 8, You're Next, the song Looking for the Magic by the Dwight Twilley Band. This song plays on a loop in the movie throughout the film. Every time they go back to that one house, it's on the radio. And I really like that song and dig it. It's on my Spotify. I listen to it. Number 7 from Final Destination is John Denver's Rocky Mountain High. Very great song and perfect song for this movie. John Denver dying in a small plane crash. So, yeah, ironic. And the song saying, I've seen It's Raining Fire in the Sky, kind of talking about in Final Destination the plane exploding in the sky, raining fire, And so number 6 is from American Psycho, Hip to Be Square by Huey Lewis in the News. I love that scene and Christian Bale's performance in that whole movie, but in that scene, especially when he's just got that smile on his face as he's putting on like the raincoat and he's picking up the axe, talking about Hip to Be Square, what the song is, like what the meaning behind the lyrics, and then he's like, "Hey Paul," and then bam, amazing scene, great song too, one of my favorite songs from Huey Lewis. Number 5 is from P2, and that's the Elvis Presley Christmas song called Blue Christmas. Blue, 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 and the main killer, the main bad guy in the movie, or the only bad guy in the movie, Wes Bentley. He's a big Elvis fan. He's in the security booth looking at all the cameras, and he's, just doing his best Elvis impersonation and lip singing to the song. And yeah, big fan of that movie. It's one of my favorite Christmas horror movies. So love it. Number 4 is from Shaun of the Dead. There's a scene at the bar later in the movie where one of them hits a jukebox and it starts playing that song by Queen, like "Don't Stop Me Now." And they all just start beating the shit out of that one zombie with the pool stick. They all grab pool sticks and start beating the zombie with the pool sticks. It's pretty funny. Just I love how that song like plays into like with that scene. It's just so funny. Like, the lyrics kind of going with what's happening in the movie. It's just so well, like, "Don't stop me now," and they're all just going to town. The zombies beating them up. It's just it fits so perfect. It fits that scene amazingly. And number 3 is Urban Legend, the opening scene where the song Eclipse of the Heart or Total Eclipse of the Heart. This is actually a twofer because it's two movies. It's Urban Legend and The Strangers Pray at Night. I love it in both movies. So yeah, both movies. This song by Bonnie Tyler. Just and then the scary movie version where she's like singing it so horribly. So funny. Number 2 is Maniac in the movie Maniac, not the song Maniac. In the remake of Maniac, the girl he takes home after their date that he meets online, the sexy redhead with all the tattoos, she goes in the other room, puts on some music, and she plays that song Goodbye Horses by Q Lazarus. And this is another twofer. This is in two movies. I'm sure all these songs have been in other movies, but these are the two songs that I know are in two movies. So, but yeah, this was in the Maniac remake, but it was also in Silence of the Lambs, famously. Now, I'm not sure if he played that song on the radio in that movie. So, is that a needle drop or was that just a movie playing it? But whatever. So, yep. Number 1, though, my favorite needle drop in horror is 2 songs in one movie, and that's in one of my favorite horror movies of all time, Final Destination 3. We got the Love Roller Coaster song during the tanning bed sequence, and also that creepy ass song called Turn Around, Look at Me by the Letterman. That plays during the drive-through scene and also later on for one quick scene when Wendy's driving to the Tricentennial. Yeah, in the drive-through, that song comes on. It's like, turn around, look at me. There's someone walking behind you, and she looks behind her, and she sees that truck rolling down the hill. Again, just perfect song for that moment. The lyrics mirroring what's happening on screen. And Love Roller Coaster, the irony, song about a roller coaster, and they just escaped death. A roller coaster crash they escaped, so just fun stuff. Love it. Awesome movie. Check it out if you haven't seen it. Don't talk to me. All right, there you go. There's my top 10. What's your top 10? Wait, honorable mentions. I didn't say any, did I? No. All right, very quickly. Honorable mentions from Christine. We got a lot of songs in that movie, so I'll just say all of them. All the songs that Christine plays. Those are good needle drop moments. And I saw the sign, I think is what the song's called, in Werewolves Within. That chick, hits the jukebox and starts playing that like 90s song. I think it's 90s. I could be wrong. So yeah, and in the Insidious movie, the original Insidious, there's that weird, creepy song that plays on her like record player. I wrote down it's called "Tiptoe Through the Tulips." Look it up. It's a weird song. And Pseudo Echo's song, "There's a Man with No Life in His Eyes," or that song that plays during Violet's death scene in Friday the 13th Part 5. And I can even throw in that one song that plays in Friday the 13th Part 4 when Jimmy starts dancing. And that weird, crazy dance he does. No way, not tonight. That song, whatever it's called. So yeah, there you go. Top 10 plus some honorable mentions. Where are your favorite needle drops in horror? Let me know in the comments below. And the next video, I think, will be coming out in the next week or so. And it'll be about the Exorcism movie. I saw The Exorcism with Russell Crowe. And also 2 spider movies. There was 2 spider movies that got released over the spring called Infested and Sting. So I'm going to be probably talking about those also in the next video as well. So look forward to that. And so yeah, with that being said, I got nothing else to say. Adios, y'all. See you later.